Alrighty, so tonight we have the amazing Olivia who went Ruby in her first month. So she is going to tell us how she did that basically. But can you just start with like why you got started and when you joined for me? I have to unmute you. Hold on.
Okay, so I started like right at the end of December, right before New Year's Eve. Actually, my husband was quarantined with COVID and I was stuck at home, and I came across Kristen's TikTok and I was like, why not? I had actually been asked previously to join the business by two other women, and I actually remember their names, crazy enough. So I guess that means a lot to me to realize that we are memorable in people's minds, because those conversations do stick with us. I just wasn't at a headspace or in the right time in my life to join then. And like, especially now that I see the growth that's happened in just a short month. Um, I don't think I could have handled it when I was in college like I am now. So I guess that's really the story. I just joined really for something to do. And then I realized very, very quickly that it could be so much more. And like my first month, I made enough in my commission to pay my car payment. And I was like, wow, I'm able to save this extra. And I wouldn't have been able to do that before.
That's so awesome. So tell us like what are you using to enroll like all of these loyal customers that you're enrolling? Because I know you enroll so many.
So customers, most of mine have came from host to post. I will always, after I put up a host to post, I always tell that person that put it up about the product themselves. I put it somewhere in the wording as like, hey, by the way, just in case people comment and ask you about the product, of course I'll handle all of those comments. But if you were curious, this is what the product does for me. I've been using it for this long. And honestly, lots of times that's flipped my host to post person into also a loyal customer. And I actually even flipped one of them from a host to post to a customer to a distributor. So, that wasn't the plan, but that's just kind of how it worked. And I think just keeping those conversations open with people who are hosting a post for you, because they're obviously willing to support you, or they wouldn't post it for you. And chances are, if they're willing to post about the products, they believe there's a chance they could work too.
That makes sense. So do you feel like you sign a lot of customers from the host to posts themselves, or you sign more from the people that are like actually doing the posts for you that end up buying the products?
I would honestly say a little bit 50-50. Most of them probably are coming from the host to post themselves. But in reality, a lot of the people who I've asked to host a post before they ever even posted the post on their wall, they were asking me like, hey, what does this do for you? Do you think this is something I should try? And sometimes, and that's what gave me the idea to start telling the people about the product, because I had so many reach out to me before I even asked. So I think once I realized not to be afraid to offer the products to people was when I started having better success.
That makes sense. So what host to posts do you use? Because you only use like the ones that you use the products
Mhm.
yourself, right?
Yes, I have done the cleanse and I've done the gummies. I haven't gotten my gummies pictures approved yet, so it kind of stinks that I haven't got to share them. But I can at least relate with the people who are trying it and tell them that, hey, I use this and this is what's happened for me. And I always tell them I have corporate pictures submitted. I'm just waiting on the approval before I can share them. And people are pretty, when they can relate more that you're using it, they trust you a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. So you always do either the cleanse or the gummies for your host to posts?
Mostly. I've done a few coffee. Those are the three products I use consistently: the coffee, the gummies, and the cleanse.
Okay. And so how are you getting people to post for you? Are you like doing giveaway posts or are you messaging people or both?
I've done both. I've been putting the giveaways up on my Facebook and my Instagram. I've tried TikTok and I've gotten a few bites on that, but I'm still working on figuring out how to get that to blow up. But as far as, I always put up the giveaway at least once or twice a week on my Facebook wall. And then, of course, I message daily.
Okay, cool. And do you feel like most of the people that actually post for you are people that commented on the giveaway post, or do you have people actually message you back from the messages you send out to?
The messages can be tough because not everybody responds, but I've learned to stop looking for the response unless I get a notification. Because in the beginning, I would go and I'd look at my messages and be like, oh, she read that but didn't say anything. And it was just more discouraging than anything. And once I learned, when you get a notification, that's when you look at the message. It became much more encouraging. But I would definitely say that more posts get put up from the people who comment based on my Facebook post.
Okay, that's how I am too. I feel like most of mine come from my giveaway posts.
Mhm.
So, let's get into like, do you sign most of your customers on the spot, or do you have to follow up with them a couple times?
Honestly, most of them have been on the spot, and I try to say it's not because I'm pushy about it, but I try to be confident about it. And you know, a lot of the messages we put something like "sounds good" or "what do you think" at the end, and I've found that my ending question that works the best has been if I say, "Does this sound like something you'd be interested in knowing more about?" Because I feel like it's less pushy, but more like, "Tell me what you think," basically.
I really like that. So, do you do follow-ups, and like how do you organize your follow-ups if you do them?
I Yeah, I do follow-ups once a week. I just do it on Friday. That way I'm consistent and know which day that I'm following up with everyone. Unless, of course, it was somebody that I just talked to on like Thursday, then I would wait till the next week. But I actually bought a planner and I put everyone's name that I talked to that seems like a potential on that date in the planner. And then that following Friday, I follow up with anyone that was on there that week. And then, of course, if there was anyone from the previous week that flows into that, that way I'm consistently following up with them once a week.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Side note, if anybody has questions while Olivia's talking, you guys can put them in the chat and we can get to the questions at the end. Okay, Olivia, what do your daily tasks look like? Like either like tell me your schedule for the day and what you're doing throughout the day, or just like go through the tasks you know you have to get done every day.
Yeah, so I actually work full time as a nurse in the school system. So it's kind of awesome because it's Monday through Friday, and there are snow days here and there, which has helped me this month, especially promotion month. I had 2 snow days this week, so I just worked those days. But a normal day, I always get up, and the first thing I do is I go make my coffee and get my gummies out, and I put up a video of me doing that immediately on my Instagram and my Facebook stories. Sometimes I talk about it and I tell them what the products do. Sometimes I just put music in the background and put slides up afterwards explaining the products, just so that I'm constantly showing people that I too am using them. Um, and then afterwards, I normally will do my 10 pages of self development right after that, first thing in the morning. And I get up my 50 follows on Instagram and 50 friend requests on Facebook before I go to work. Because then I feel like I have a good start for my evening because I'll have new friends coming in before I get home. Um, and then I always, on my lunch break, I will send out half of my messages for the day. And that way I'll have some comments coming in before I get home from work. Then, of course, once I get home from work, I finish the rest of my messages. I get up a TikTok or two, and then I'll be able to respond to those messages throughout the night and not feel like I'm drowning in all this work all at once. And I think the big thing is making sure that I am commenting and liking people's content. I know the first few weeks I got so drawn up and making sure I was posting about what I wanted to do and forgetting to comment and like and interact with other people's posts so that they're seeing mine too.
Okay. So you whenever that you do like your following and your self-development in the morning and
Mhm.
post your story because you use the products too, which is good. And then you're doing the messaging like on your break and then when you get off work and TikToks when you get off work. So when do you like post on your story or on your like Facebook and Instagram pages besides in the morning when you're doing your products?
Yeah, so I always in the morning I always do when I'm using them, and then I put slides up. As far as like just a regular Facebook or Instagram post on my wall, I try to do that at least 3 times a week in the evenings. And I try to make it. I've been getting better at making them more personalized, like a selfie of myself, or and some of them are old. I mean, no one knows that it's a picture from Florida from a year ago. No one knows that but me, and then I'll put something like that up with the income disclosure and like some sort of inspirational little quote or something. And then I just tell my story, tell them why I started when I started, and then what the business is going to do for me.
Cool. Do you do product posts on your page at all?
I do not as often as I probably should. I know I use Instagram more for my product posts than I have on Facebook.
Okay.
But honestly, like once it's close to the end of the month, I noticed I was pushing for Ruby last month so hard, and I wanted it by the 31st, and I made it happen on the 30th. So it was like a big party day. But it was that day that I decided, you know what, I'm going to put a product post up and just see what happens. And that's when I signed 3 LCs that day and promoted to Ruby. So I definitely need to post more product posts.
So, what do product posts on Instagram look like for you? Because I do most of mine on Facebook, so I'm curious how you make them work on Instagram.
Yeah, so I sometimes even I will type them up on Facebook in the little box and put a colorful box behind it, especially the gummies because there's an orange background on Facebook, and then I just screenshot it and it says something similar to what we would put on Facebook, like if you could try 2 tasty gummies for 90 days and lose an average of 10 to 20 pounds, would you try it? And then just drop an emoji below if you're interested. And a lot of times I'll put that and then I'll just put a picture of them in the slide next to that.
Okay, and then do you like leave that on your page so then it's like mixed up with the pictures of you, or do you take it off after a certain amount of time?
So I leave them up for 3 days. And if they start getting interactions, then I'll leave them. And if they don't, I just take it down because I know if somebody's coming to follow on my page, they don't want to come follow a big advertisement page. They want to follow me. They want to be friends with me, not my products.
Hmm.
So I just try to do it for like when I'm trying to push to get more BV for a couple days, and then I just take it down.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay, so to go Ruby, we know we need 3 distributors on our team too. So let's
Mhm.
go into how did you sign your distributors?
Yeah, for sure. So, actually, a couple of them approached me, and that's why I think it's so important to keep posting your story. And that's what happened. I was posting my story repetitively, and maybe almost more repetitively than some of my friends preferred. But I think getting out of your head and realizing that it doesn't matter if your friends like that you're sharing your story. If they're really your friends, they're gonna like to read your story. So yeah, I had people reach out to me just based off of seeing my Instagram, my Facebook story. I put some slides together that started like 2 years ago, I became a nurse. And then 6 months later, I married my best friend. And then I started this business and, just kind of going through the whole process. And I had a few people slide up and say, hey, I'm interested in checking out your team and seeing what it has to offer. And then the other DTs that I signed actually came from TikTok, and I have a very small TikTok account. So I was pretty pumped about that. So I think it's important to realize whether you have a million followers on TikTok or you have 6, sometimes they just decide to blow your post up and people see it and the right person will.
So did your distributors that signed up with you sign on the spot, or were they people you had to follow up with?
So I had 2 of them sign on the spot. Now, 2 of them I had to follow up with. So I guess that's pretty shows that it's really 50-50. Some people are going to jump right in heads first and they're ready for it. And then other people just need that little extra push. And like I can speak for myself. Like I said, I was asked by 2 other people a couple years ago and didn't jump in. And this time I wasn't even approached by Kristen. I saw her TikTok and was like, let's do it. So I think remembering that sometimes that follow up is really just what they need.
So did you, when you started, did you focus on distributors at all, or did you just like focus on customers until you got your shopping spree? And then how do you split up now that you have your shopping spree and your Ruby? Like, how do you decide when to focus on distributors or when to focus on customers?
For sure. So when I started, I just focused on my shopping spree. Kristen told me I could get a $150 shopping spree, and I was like, let's go. I want to try the products and I don't have the money to just go blow $150 on them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the shopping spree. And as soon as I got those 6 customers, that's when I thought, okay, now it's time to grow my team. And that's when I started posting TikToks about distributors. And that's when I started telling my story. I honestly didn't tell my story until I got my shopping spree. I felt like I had to prove it to myself that I could do it before I shared all of that with everyone. And now I just kind of split it up equally. I have been using TikTok and Instagram more so for my distributors and Facebook more so for my customers. I don't think you have to split it up that way, but that just seems to be what's working for me.
That makes sense. So then on Instagram, as far as like signing distributors off of that, are you just like putting your story slides up and like your life posts with the income disclosure?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then how often are you posting on TikTok?
On TikTok, I at least do once a day, but try to do 3 times a day.
Okay. And are they like always distributor TikToks that you're putting up, or what are you doing with that?
I try to mix them up. I do 2 business posts to everyone, just funny, silly, whatever posts, because I feel like if I flood it with all the business, I'm not going to bring in new people because the same people are seeing the same thing. So I try to do something funny and then 2 business posts and try to break it up. And honestly, what I've been doing is I record them all in one day and save them in my drafts because no one wants to get up and put makeup on every single day of the week, but I need to post a TikTok every single day of the week. So one day I just get up and I make myself look good and I change my outfit 5 times and make all the TikToks and then post them all throughout the week.
Yes, that's what I do too. I make like so many at one time, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good. I have a good amount for the next
Yes,
like.
for sure.
This is gonna be my last question. So if anybody has questions, put them in the chat so that we can get to them before like we close out. So I know you're super new, so this might not be like a huge thing for you, but like how important is self-development for you, and what do you do to do your self-development?
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, it's always been something really important to me. Um, Honestly, more on a God level too. I've always been someone who went to church regularly. I've always been someone who reads my Bible regularly. And honestly, within the last few years, I do slack and I go in kind of waves where I'll be really good about it. And what's been awesome about this business is the accountability for it. Like just being in that 30-day hard group that I've been a part of, like having that be something I have to do every day has been honestly huge. And it's only been a couple days. It seems like it's been longer, but I think the big thing is I love to do it when I wake up every morning because it starts my day off right. I used to be someone who always did podcasts because it was something I could do while I was working on something else. But now we're reading from a physical hard copy book, and I feel like that's changed me even more because I find myself writing little notes about it throughout the day, or remembering and referencing back to it. And I truly feel like what you tell yourself is what you do. And if you tell yourself you can't sign a customer, you won't. If you tell yourself you can't find distributors, you won't. But as soon as you tell yourself you can, that's when it happens. And I've seen that happening in my team already this week.
That is awesome. I love that. Okay. So I am, oh my goodness, I don't like to read. Like I don't read a lot. I used to when I was younger, and then I like fell out of it. And I always listen to like audibles because I can just listen while I'm driving and stuff. And was like, nope, you got to get an actual book. I was like, oh my God. But been so much better. Like this has been like I get to actually like focus solely on self-development, and I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you